It is such a wonderful pleasure to have you here on the Road to Rock, Devora. You are, well, they say there's no rest for the wicked, and anytime I've touched base with your manager, it seems like you just kind of have a busy schedule these days.
Yeah,
Is that a good or bad thing?
it's been a little crazy. I apologize with the back and forth, but thank you for your patience.
Of course, it's great to have you. As someone that attends hundreds of shows a year, sometimes I get a little jaded, and sometimes I forget to really take in the nuances and really appreciate things. But I'll tell you what, to be able to interview you right now is very special because I caught you guys opening for Bush in St. Louis last month. What an unbelievable show that was! To be able to see you guys and doing your thing and to familiarize myself with what you do, it was a true honor. And I'll tell you, it's great to have you. That show was spectacular, by the way. That was the last
Thank you.
day of the tour, I think.
Yeah, that was the last one. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you were there and that we're getting to do this right now. This is so great.
Well, okay, so we got to get this out of the way because your music is tremendous, and it opens up a lot of different visuals and a lot of different things. So I feel like you'll be comfortable with me telling you this, but I'm sorry, I did the meet and greet with Bush beforehand. You did as well. And I'm sorry, standing next to Gavin Rossdale, I'm a 39-year-old straight male, and I swear he's the best looking guy in the world. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
And he pushed back on that. He's pretty.
he's really good looking. Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah. Doesn't matter what age you are, you know.
exactly. Or what gender you are, apparently, because I brought my girlfriend to the show, and it's funny because I looked up and I was like, and she was already like going in for the hug. You know how these women do with Gavin. It's
Yeah.
like they can't help it. That might have been the end for us. So I don't know. I haven't
Ooh.
seen her since. No.
Oh my gosh. But I'm
What?
glad you guys got, how was the meet and greet? Was it good?
It was tremendous. And I saw you guys kind of come in at the very end and because it's kind of commemorating the end of the tour for you guys. But just a couple days later, it was announced you guys are going to pick back up and do some more shows, I believe, this spring with Bush, which is amazing.
Yes, end of April. I'm looking forward.
How did that happen? How did you get synced up with Bush? Because it turned out to be such a wonderful pairing.
So my management made it happen. So yeah, they've been very uh they've been like instrumental in like making connecting that. So
I was really taken aback with just how well that you command an audience, how good your band is as a power trio, by the way, a new holy triumvirate. What
yes.
made you guys go that direction, and how did you become the bass player? How did you pick up a bass?
I'm actually so bass guitar right now is actually it's on the tracks, but I play like rhythm guitar, and then we have a lead guitar, and then we have um drums. So yeah, I kind of I like the three piece. I think we definitely for this run, it was such short notice. We just wanted to make it as like tight and concise as possible. So that's why we just ended up going out us three. So
What have the crowds been like? It seems like at least in St. Louis, it was a wonderful reception for the band and just an appreciation. And like I said, I go to a lot of shows and bands come up, bands perform, the opening band.
yeah,
Sometimes they're memorable, sometimes they're not. And I believe that you guys, at least at that show, hit a chord, and that surely was the case through the whole tour. Because here you are
yeah,
back for the spring, so that's got to be a gratifying feeling.
yeah. The shows have been the reception has been amazing. People have been so receptive and so just incredibly um yeah, just receptive and so what's the word? Like uh they've loved the music, they've loved the you know it's been great to like finally meet new fans and people that have come out just to see us, and it's been amazing. It's been
Did
great.
you at some point did you the do you believe that Devora in and of herself is a character that you had to create? Do you believe that that's kind of the case? And if so, how did you sort of create this, as you put it on your Instagram, a gothic Dolly Parton, which is the greatest thing ever, by the way?
Thank you. Yeah, there's many parts of it where we are one and the same, you know.
Mhm.
It's very much uh an exaggerated version of myself, you know. And uh we share the same thoughts and feelings and perspective on things. And this is something I've always wanted to do, is like this blending of kind of a darker Western country genre with like uh more of a mainstream rock sound. So this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. So and it's kind of a project that was like birthed out of the pandemic. So I'm really grateful to be able to go forward with this like
Well,
this.
you had the Outlaw EP was your debut. Then now in January you released God is Dead.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff, powerful title. Where does that come from? And what it sort of manifests itself throughout the tracks and the videos. Specifically, if you're a visual learner like me, you guys have some tremendous videos for Bonesaw. You just released one. I want to get to it for Porn Star. We'll get to that. But man, it's a powerful title. And people like immediately you just sort of like perk up, like, whoa, like that. It just kind of
Yeah.
catches you off guard, right? When you see that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, there's a lot of shock value with some of the stuff in the new EP. And the video. Everything's just been so fun to shoot and execute, because it's ideas and images and vision boards that I've had in my head for so long. So it's great to finally get it out there to the world.
There's some real darkness here. You just released the video for Porn Star, and I think you said about Bonesaw that it was sort of
Mhm.
like a night in a motel gone wrong.
Yeah,
Well, maybe that's a theme here because that seems to be the case in a
yeah,
way for Porn Star as well. So, kind of
yeah,
take us through just kind of immersing yourself in sort of the darkness, and there's like a real sleaziness, almost like a Fiona Apple uh,
yeah.
type of
Mhm.
feel where you feel like you shouldn't be seeing this. It's a little uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
that's got to be what you're going for, right?
Definitely, definitely. I'm inspired by film a lot, by cinema. So, directors like Quentin Tarantino and Alejandro Jodorowsky, and people that really push the limits with cinema. And uh yeah, the goal with that song was to create this like American nightmare gone wrong, this story essentially. And parts of it are autobiographical in a sense. Like everything I pull from my own experience, of course. But um, my favorite type of songs to write are the ones where you feel like you're physically in the scene with the person. Like all five senses are activated, and you're right there with them.
Yes, that definitely did that, and it definitely smelled like Pabst Blue Ribbon and Swisher Sweet
Yes,
cigars in there. So I
yes.
just me. I don't know. So
Spot
do
on.
you ever feel like with Devora that you may pull like, okay, so for instance, Marilyn Manson did Antichrist Superstar and he followed it up with Mechanical Animals, which was like a David Bowie went far away from kind of that darkness. Do you feel like that one day
Yeah.
we'll look up and Devora does a Carrie Underwood type album? Is that on the table, or do you feel like that this is kind of the world that you are comfortable in right now?
That's a great question. And I have songs that I've held back on these EPs that are definitely more pop leaning, more pop
Mm,
country leaning. And um I think that the two worlds can exist, one and the same. I think that as time goes forward, and there's new singles and new EPs, the story, it's all about like chapters of the story. So the story continues, and there might be parts of the story that have you know that shed some light, and then maybe go back to the darkness after that kind of thing.
we want her to continue because you do have the song not dead
Mhm.
yet, and so she lives in a world that's very very dark and on the edge, but
Yeah.
maybe deep in your subconscious that's sort of a life that is there a part of that that's like a life that you kind of always dreamt about. Like obviously you're pretty
Mhm.
young, you don't have to tell me how old you are if you don't want to, but you clearly, like a 9 to 5 job maybe wasn't for you. Maybe that you kind of that there's a fantasy here that you're being able to live out
Mhm.
here. So I'm the same way. Like I remember being a young kid and I remember just like finding my uncle's Kiss records And I watched a lot of TV and like Saved by the Bell, and it shows how old I am. And I'm just like, I don't know like what to do in this world. Like I'm not like a talented actor. I can't play in a rock band, but I don't want to do something out there and in there. So is that kind of the
Yeah.
case for you as well?
Yeah, for me it all started with really not fitting in like middle school and high
Hmm.
school, and finding dark music and the community around dark music in whatever genre the most welcoming, and the place that I fit in. And eventually that started into, turned into making my own. Um and here we are now, kind of carving this lane out for, people, outlaws like me, that just want to um tell their story and share, their insight as to why, the importance of going your own way, and not caring what others think about you, essentially. So
That's tremendous. I kind of want to ask about some of your influences because like I said, having that moment seeing you guys open for Bush kind of took me back to gosh, about 10 years ago, seeing The Pretty Reckless open for Marilyn
oh
Manson and Taylor Momsen. And I just wondered, like,
yeah.
is someone like her, or is it not, it's easy to, oh, because she's a female front woman for a rock band. It's maybe not that simple. But what was she one of your
Yeah.
influences, and kind of what are some other ones for you?
um Ironically, different Taylor Swift ironically, even though that's like a very different style of music, she, as a songwriter, she's been a big influence. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Like Nine Inch Nails is like my all-time
Interesting.
favorite. Yeah. And Jack White, Bring Me to the Horizon, My Chemical Romance, like all of the Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton. Um, and that's kind of all the stuff I try to incorporate in my music. I think, or naturally kind of shines through,
I
you
love
know.
that. And I love music and visuals that put me in a mood or a time and a place. I'm a visual
Yeah.
person. You see them all behind me. I grew up watching,
Mm,
listen to Motley Crue, Iron Maiden, Priest, the big time, over the top type bands. And
yeah.
something about that. Actually, I just saw Nikki Sixx is playing, I believe, bass on a Dolly Parton track coming up. Now that's worlds
That's
colliding. She's just into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and now she's doing something with Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. I
that is so cool. Oh my God, I had no idea. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
she's
Yeah.
just a treasure, and I
Cool.
must be appreciated. So you grew up in Arizona, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Do you remember your first concert that you ever went to,
Oh my gosh. I think it was,
or maybe one that just stands out as an early one that really like I want to do this type of thing?
one that stands out as an early one. I think I remember being in like middle school and seeing um I think it was around like 2010, like seeing um Nine Inch Nails had come out with like a whatever the tour was. I think it was the Year Zero tour at that point. And I remember like seeing it on TV, and I was like, that was like, I remember that being like a significant turning point. Like, those shows are insane with LED walls and all kinds of like crazy stuff. And I remember being like, wow, this is so insane. So I remember that being like a definitive kind of moment for me.
Do you feel any vindication as you've set forth on this, as you continue to grow, as the fan base continues to grow, you play shows, you've developed this unbelievable persona, this, you're a talented musician. You talked about not fitting in middle school and in high school. Do you have people like hitting you up that are just like, you're like, hey, you wouldn't have talked to me back in middle school or high school, and now you got people that you went to school with that are just like trying to hit you back up now?
Yeah, I definitely have like, people that from school, people that like in the industry that, I definitely have experienced that for sure. And it's an interesting turn of events when, yeah, it's an interesting plot twist.
it, it is, but I that also speaks to just where you've come in life and where you are as a musician, because as time goes on, people that you went to school with, nothing against having kids or getting married and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
they're doing that, and they're probably they're got their 9 to 5 job. They're at the and it's just like
Yeah.
here you are traveling the country, traveling the world. Have you played any shows overseas yet?
I haven't, but I can't wait.
Yeah,
Places like Germany and the UK,
yeah.
those that are very much what's the word? They're very much they love like Americana and American culture, and I definitely feel the weight of fans over there that have gravitated to this music. So I really can't wait to get over there.
Obviously, playing with Bush has been huge. Have you had any other kind of starstruck, can't believe this is real moments since you guys formed a couple years ago?
Um, I got to work with Shooter Jennings on,
Awesome.
and which was definitely like a, oh my God, this is insane moment. So that was pretty cool. And yeah. Um I'm trying to think what else.
That's a really
Some of
good
the
one.
some people that I've been writing with recently, just from like a personal sample, like I'm so obsessed with what they do as, as writers, and it's like an honor to be able to work with them. So that as well.
And that's such an important aspect and like set you apart. And I feel such good things are coming. So kind of like for the rest of the year in a perfect world, obviously, God is Dead, the EP, it's out. People can get it right now.
Mhm.
And I would like to implore them to do so. The website's devoramusic.square.site.
Yeah.
What does the rest of the year look like in a perfect world for you? You got the dates with Bush. I know been back in the studio. What else does this year look like for you?
So working on a full length record, touring more, and yeah, getting more music out, and getting more music to the audience, touring. So
Well, that's
yeah,
tremendous. I look for just such huge things, and
thank you.
I don't consider myself someone that can just that has a magic touch or something, and find someone and thinks that they're the the next big thing, and it necessarily is. But you guys are on that trajectory, and talk
Thank you.
about it because you talk about the other two, the members of the band, because the gentleman that you've got playing with you, man, they fit the mold, and like your drummer, man, hits hard. This
Yeah,
band, the three of you guys, like talk about them and just kind of how you found those two.
they're amazing. Those guys are great. This tour was actually the first time I've ever played with them, and
Really?
yeah, but I feel like we've been doing it for 100 years, and yeah, they are just so they're incredible humans, but they're amazing musicians as well. And uh we met through mutual friends, and yeah, and it they both live on the East Coast, so for this last Bush tour, it was like a very uh perfect situation because the tour started on the East Coast, so we were all able to leave from there. So
So you spent a lot of time in Nashville. Are you around there most of the time now, or where are you usually located?
I feel like I live there now. I'm
Yeah.
there like, once every other month, it feels like. And I just got back from there. I love it there. The community, the just everything about it. I feel like I've been welcomed with open arms, and every time I go there, it's just such an amazing experience. And the talent, there's so much talent there. So it's an honor to be able to work with these people.
It's I tell you, Nashville has become one of my top three favorite cities to visit every year, and it just there's something about it. It's
Yeah.
how I imagine like maybe LA would have been in the 80s and on the Sunset Strip or something. Like there's so much and so many different types of music and so many different types. I mean, it's you go down Broadway Street and you can go from Kid Rocks to Aldean's to Tootsie's and see several different kinds of
Yeah.
bands, different every kind of music you can imagine. Have you played down on anywhere on Broadway Street live, or just kind of been the tour dates and stuff? Have you played?
I've never played on Broadway. Just really the first time I played Nashville was the Ryman.
Wow,
Um,
really? That was on
yeah,
this tour, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I've never really played anywhere else, but I look forward to playing more places out there
Well,
for sure.
I'll tell you what, it has been a real pleasure looking for huge things. And again, the EP is called God is Dead, and it is fantastic. It is immersive, and it is kind of everything I like and what bands do. I feel like there's not enough of it these
Yeah.
days. I feel like I don't get grabbed. That's just the crux of it, as I don't
Yeah.
get grabbed by the throat.
Mhm.
It feels like anymore. And you did that. So
Thank
thank you for
you.
grabbing me by the throat.
Mission accomplished. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Best of luck going forward. Hope we can catch up again
Thank
down the
you.
road and to see you guys live again. I know you got the dates with Bush, so please, everybody, be checking for that. Devora music is where you can find that. Thank you so much. It's been a true pleasure, Devora. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Clint. I appreciate you. So
Absolutely. Catch up
thank you.
soon.
Definitely. Thanks so much.